That's great. And what we're going to do is just get them in contact with this and they're going to march in. Oh, you even get to view what's going on? This is way
360 second you're doing.
Way more modern now. So at the same time it's recording both sides. Oh, I like it. Okay, I put on a veil and I don't have glasses, so we'll use the veil. Peter's all suited up over there and he doesn't have gloves on, but he seems to be fine with that. And he hasn't closed his hood. Do you want to zip up or do you care?
Should I zip up?
I'm sure you'll be fine, but I can't get you stung on your first date. So.
And the odds are good, I will get stung.
Oh, you did say something like that. I wish you had your little yellow finger puppet to show him.
Oh,
yeah, you can't not do that. Okay, so this is really straightforward. This is called marching, what we're going to do. Normally we'd scrape it into the box, but I don't want to do that. Normally I would use the water mist in order to keep them from flying, but right now I don't care. One's already been checking it out in here. So what I have is some comb. It's still got a little wax moth debris on it. They'll clean that out. Normally I would clean it up for them, but right now I don't have a lot of time before it gets dark. So we're putting 4 frames in the box, which I know violates. They'll always use the right number of frames for the box, but this is temporary and we know what we're doing. And one part of the equation is if you know what you're doing, you can do what you want. So I'm putting this up against the fence so there isn't room for them to get lost or stuck in there. I'd like to bring it down on them because 2x4 back there is causing me a little bit of trouble too. Now I'm going to get them out of the crush zone here. Oh, they are going through the crack in the fence. Oh, they put some wax on the fence already. They've been here a little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to get this load of them into the box. Now you see how they're hanging on to each other? The whole thing is just bees hanging on bees except for the ones that are hanging onto the fence.
Bees on bees on bees.
That's it. So as I get them out of this crush zone, I introduce the box onto its rail. Hopefully without crushing anybody. I tell you what, we're going to come forward here ever so slightly. And we're going to ease our way in on them. There. Now, listen carefully. Did you hear the volume change? They're going to start talking about what is going on. The realtor just brought us a house, Marge! Hear it? Okay, they're starting to communicate that something's different. There's something going on.
Are they angry?
No. They're starting to put... Oh, well that was rude. Look at that. Came right over and stuck me on the wrist. Well, I should have put that on the GoPro. Maybe it has wide enough vision that it was on there, hanging from all its goodie on my wrist there. That was rude.
See, I'm here and you got stung.
Bring them a house, give them something nice, and they sting me. Okay, so I wish I had brought cardboard. I could flop them in with cardboard. I wish I had foundation. I could do that. I could go to the car and get all of this. They're going to figure all of this out really quickly, and they're going to march. So we're going to give them a bridge or two. We've got lots of nice little pieces of stuff I can use here.
Your friend out here, bees, remember? Your friend.
So here is the bridge that's going to let them get down here without getting lost in the crack, right? And then you can get them to fall down to here. Now if I could close up that other side, they would be inclined to go in the box instead of back up the wall to where everybody is. But I'm suspecting that there's a whole bunch of them in that crack, and on the other side, the queen might even be in the crack.
Seen a couple, I don't know if there's people just checking it out when I've seen people back there. Check out this little nature activity. The spider came out to get the bee that got stuck in its web. Save him!
problem is you try to get the web off the bee and you get stung. Did the spider bite the bee?
I don't know. He came up to him and then he went away, so maybe.
The bee's hung up in web. See her in sting mode there? That's a perfect example of sting mode. She's hunched over and she's got the web has got her somehow, and she's stuck to me with the web, and I don't know that we're going to save her, but maybe another one will chew the web off of her. So with this gaposis down here and them being in it, I'm not happy with our arrangement. If that could have been flat up against the board before I started doing what I'm doing, I'd have been better off. I could also change the box in its position. See how it's moist underneath them? You see the little white flecks? This is wax that they've secreted and put onto the fence. So they're primed to make wax when they leave, because that's going to be the whole life thing. If without comb, then the queen can't lay any eggs and they can't get started. So what I need is them to be making that kind of noise over here at the front of the box, but they're decided to do it there, so I'm going to have to change positions here. Bring our bridge with us. Okay, now we've got the ones in here doing the locating thing. Their little behinds are in the air, their Maisonneuve gland is open, they're putting a pheromone out, says, hey, 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 we found the house. And now I need to get this up against the wall without crushing anyone, which at this point is going to be awkward. But I've got enough of them in there. Maybe I can do it. Let's relocate this out. Hear how much noise there is in that box? That's bees fanning the air, putting the pheromone out into the environment. Now if I do this little wiggle, see how I'm wiggling the box? It invites them out of that space. But I don't have to push it right up against there because the bee can stretch across the gap. Now the nice thing is that as opposed to a hive that's established with bees that don't fly yet, these are all flyers by definition, right? They flew here. You know they can fly. You don't have to worry about picking up every last one and getting it in the box. It's a 7-frame lid. It's not a house or a home until it has a ceiling, right? Alright. Now, I don't have to go over there because I can send this hive tool in. And I can lift these guys up. Oh, there aren't that many there. Starting to do the right thing here. And give them their bridge back. There. So you can see that they're pointed in this direction, which means they're broadcasting the locating scent out this way, and they're headed the right direction. Now what you watch with bee behavior is that this one crawls along and he bumps into that one, or she bumps into that one, and that one moves ahead. I'll bump this one like it's the one behind, you'll bump the one in front, and they move toward the box. So as the ones start to figure out where they're going, all forward, and the other ones then figure out where they're going. So in a half hour or so, they'll all be down here in the box. But it would be nice to know the queen in there. When we see her march in, then we know we're home. But I think she might be hanging under this back side. So if I had access to that, I could lean in there maybe. Let's see what this is. That's going to keep me from getting back there. The smoker, and we could blow some smoke on that side, and that would get them to come out this side. But it looks like you can get a close-up in there if you want. You can put a light in there too if you need to. spot for me to get stung. See, it's already making the bullseye. But it doesn't.
Do you get stung often?
Probably 2,000 times in 16 years.
They like you more than they like me.
Well, I'm reaching into the blind places without gloves on because I need to feel, you know, when I'm taking bees out of buildings, you can't get your head in there a lot of times. And then a comb collapses and things happen. So it isn't unusual to get stung once on something like this. And if I were really worried about it, I'd wear gloves, right?
Can't feel the queen look different.
Uh-huh. She's longer and she has a crown. Everybody thinks I'm pulling their leg when I tell them that, but you see, a bee is made up of a head, a thorax, and an abdomen. The wings come out of the thorax. And the queen, right behind the eyes there, has a black shiny dome. See where her thorax is fuzzy? So the eyes are on the head, and then there's the thorax. This round part of the thorax is a domed, black, shiny hump on the queen. I call that her crown. And it makes her really easy to spot.
So how do you know she's not already in there?
I don't. Alright, you guys. So there are a few up here on the top crack, above the horizontal board. Trying to see if there's a queen in this mess. And it appears there's not. So this would be socializing. So I'm going to gather them over so they can go out the crack and into the box. And once you disturb their socializing, they kind of tend to do that. Now I'm going to lean down in the mess here. Oh, you know what? All right, yeah, there's not too many in here. I was going to stick the camera down there and show you the cluster. But there could be a queen here. So what I'm doing is sending them over 1.5 inches to the crack. You tell me if a different looking one comes out. I've just about cleared the cluster into the crack. Oh, there's a cluster hanging from the 2x4. It's possible there's a queen here. Not in that load.
Sure would be cool to be it.
Okay, so I need something other than a hive tool for what I'm doing now. Hear about the southern gentleman who got stopped by the police while he was visiting California? He drove in his Cadillac Eldorado, Longhorns on the front. And the officer said, "Excuse me, sir. Stopped you for being rolling through the stop sign back there. You got any ID?" The gentleman says, "About what?" I lost my bees while I was telling jokes. So these are the bees that were under the thing back there, and none of those are the queen. But you see now that they're back from out there, they started locating up here. But we don't want them locating up here. We want them down here. So watch what happens when we introduce them to this. Look how quickly they run across the gap there and go in. Yeah, now the ones that were over here are all doing the locating on the crack. What we're going to do is come back and go through the box with you in a day or two. Just take a few minutes and then verify the queen's in there and that they're doing what they're supposed to. And I could flick these guys down and they'd be tending to not hang out up here. Alright, we did it! Another thing we could do is feed them. I suspect that they're within flying distance of the hive they came from, so they should be able to get supplies they need from there to build the comb they need. And it's small, it's probably an after swarm. The queen will need to go on her mating flights. And if you wanted to let them sit for a week or two, you can just kind of see what they do in that time. It's up to you how much education you want.